Hello, Year 9. It's me, your friendly neighbourhood music teacher, here on a Friday afternoon. So, want to carry on what we started looking at the other day, the melody writing stuff. Oh, I've disappeared. I'm going to jump right into Sibelius. Not that one. And just quickly go over what we did the other day. So we were writing a melody in semibreves. Eight bars long, using a combination of steps, so that means the note next door, and leaps, where it's not right next door. So for example, that B to that E is an interval of a fourth. B, C, D, E makes 4. This is a step. This is a leap. G to C. Again, there's a fourth. G, A, B, C. And then G to B is a third. And then finally finishing on a C, because that's our home note, our tonic note. I'm going to make a note of that. I should have done that the other day. So tonic is note 1 of the scale. So for example, in C major, that's a C. Okay. And then what we did is we kind of used this one, but we developed it a little bit. So instead of just writing something completely new, we kept this as sort of our shape. And it didn't mean that we used it every single time, but we used it as kind of a basis. And one of the things I pointed out, which you really need to know, is sequence or sequential movement, where this pattern, we repeated it, but a little bit higher up. If I'd have done that, that would also have been sequence as well. So it follows the same pattern of notes. But I left that as a C. And you need to be able to recognize sequences. They're the kind of things which come up on your exam all the time. So you do need to be able to recognize them. So what I'm going to do is use this melody. Again, I'm just going to put a little system break in here. So the way we do that is in layout, system break. And it means that it breaks the system there and keeps that as 8 bars. I might also just put a double bar line in at the end. Just there. So we've got, and it looks neat, basically. Right, so I'm going to copy this. And we're going to develop this rather than writing something completely new. This time, we're going to add in some crotchet movement. So now it's not just going to be crotchets on its own, it's going to be melody minims and crotchets as well. Okay? So let's just have a listen and think about what's going on. Okay, so think about places where I can put crotchets in there. And I want to do them in a very deliberate way first off. Again, teaching you about things like sequence, I want to teach you about something called passing notes. So a passing note is when we basically fill in a gap, like here, with another note in the middle. So for example, if I make this an E crotchet and then make this a D crotchet, that note there is a passing note. Okay, this D, because it passes from that one to that one. It's also got something to do with chords and harmony as well, but we can deal with that later. So that's a passing note. So now I've got my bit of a sequence thing. And then I'm maybe going to put some crotchets in here. just to fill it out a bit. Notice here, sequence. And then same thing, but lower. So that's sequential. What's that sound like? And I could put another passing note in there. And I'm going to make that a crotchet. So I'm not changing everything, but I've now got this melody. Sorry, that's me opening a bottle of Coke. And that kind of works. Yeah, there's things we could do differently. But the thing you have to remember when you write melodies is that you're not always going to get the perfect one first time. You might have to write 100 melodies before you get one which you really, really like, which has got lots of character to it. This has not got loads of character to it, really, because it's quite a simple melody. But that doesn't mean it's not a good one. So I'm just going to review it. I'm not sure about that B. Might sound better on a C, but there's a reason for that, and that's to do with a cadence at that point. Talk about that in a minute. The ending's good, nice and strong. So, thinking of our rules, if we talk about melodies that we kind of did in year 7 or year 8, we did create a series of rules, and the same things still apply. So we should try and have a mixture of steps and leaps. I'm going to call that conjunct and disjunct. We should try to start and finish on the tonic, or at least finish. If we start on a different note, that's okay, but it's got to be a note that belongs to the chord. So in this case, it would have to be a C, an E, or a G. We're going to use a range of rhythms. One of the things you wouldn't have got in year 7 or 8 when we did melody writing is to use sequential movement. That's something we talked about. The thing I'm going to put here is I'm going to put think about shape. So think about your melody. Does it go up or down? Does it start high and go low? So this melody starts reasonably high, goes up a bit in pitch, down, and goes back up again. And you have to think about melodies whether they go up or down as to whether they sound happy or sad. In most cases, happiness and sadness in music has not really got a lot to do with the chords. It does, of course, have a bit, but the majority of it is to do with the direction of the melody and whether it rises or it falls. And the words for that are ascending and descending. They're the words that we use, proper ones in music. So I now got that melody sort of using minims and crotchets, and it's all come from this. And then it went to this, and then it went to this. And this is how we develop ideas. I'm not writing something completely new all the time. I'm writing something which is developed and changed. I'll put a system break in there. Notice that one's spread out over 2 lines, but that's okay. I can spread them out like that if I want to make them look nice. So, same thing. I'm going to take this one, but now I'm going to develop it into quavers as well. And see if there's any opportunity to get any quavers into there. Now, I might have shot myself in the foot a little bit by doing some passing notes. I might have got rid of that idea, but we'll try. So I could do crotchet Quaver, quaver. Kind of like that. What about if I did this? So kept the note the same but went above it. So C, D, A, E, B, C, D, A, C, B. That works. That could have some more passing notes and fill it in. So now, melody-wise, long note in the middle. That sounds a bit weird. The ending works. Yeah, that strange bit in the middle didn't really work, did it? Could maybe do this. That kind of works. Okay, good. So that now has been developed from this, into this, into this, and into this. Now, obviously, when you write a melody, every time you write one, you're not going to do that. You're not going to have to write one in semi-rees first, then minims. But I'm trying to get you to go back to basics and think about how we can develop melodies and how we can make melodies which have got structure, which use sequence, which use passing notes to fill in gaps between two other notes that you've written. So just to get you thinking on a bit more kind of complex level. So what I'm going to do is just a bit of analysis before I get you to do this and actually think about a famous melody. So let's just take a famous melody. My right click doesn't work on my mouse, it's useless. Do it on there. So I'm going to put double bar in and I'll put a system break in just because it makes it neat. That's not essential, by the way, it doesn't matter, but there we go, you can see how it's developed. So a melody in C major, okay? Oops. So. Okay, 8-bar melody. You should all recognise it. It sounds like this. Good, Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Great melody, brilliant, brilliant melody. And let's pick out some of the things that are used in it and how it's been written. I'm going to go backwards with it and take it to pieces. But leap, step, 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 leap, leap, long note in the middle of bar 4. That's really important to have that. Okay, and finishes on the tonic. So does it follow my rules and the things that we said? Nice leap, nice step. So there's kind of two bits to this melody. There's this figure, bum, bum, 2 minims, and there's also dum, ba, ba, bum, bum. Now look. And that is sequence. The same figure used 3 times but starting on different notes. And then this is also kind of sequential. C to C, C to A, so it's not properly sequential, but the pattern's the same. And then A to F, the pattern's the same. So the interval between C and A is a sixth, and the interval between A and F is also a sixth. And then finishes on the tonic. Long note in the middle, which is a G, which is the dominant, note 5. If you notice in my melody, I finished on a B, which is also part of a G major chord, G, B, and D. So that's deliberate. And then finishes on the tonic. Great melody. Now, if I went backwards with this, and I destroyed Harold Arlen's melody, poor Harold Arlen, if I put it just into, say, Minims, okay? So I'm taking the minim from each one. Yes, so now you're connected. And then do that. So if it was just minims, so that's that note, that's changed to a minim, that's changed to a minim, that's changed to a minim, you get the idea. It sounds like this. Even that is beautiful. And if I change it into semi-breves, so take the first note of each bar, which is what you did first off. Oops, wrong one. Is it still beautiful? It's interesting. And then step, and then step. So that's an interesting experiment to see. So is mine as beautiful? Probably not. But you can see going backwards how it's kind of been constructed. And if we take a melody into smaller pieces, you can see the leaps and the steps. And you can see how sequence has been used. And you can see the basic shape of the melody, because this is the basic shape. These leaps are what give it its character, and the fact that it then moves in step at the end. So really interesting, really, really interesting to do that. And I would highly urge you, if you want to do really well in music, to take some melodies and to have a look and see how they've been written. Maybe take them to pieces like I've done. So here's what I would like you to do. Last lesson, you should have done for me a melody in semi-breves and in minims. And then today I've done one adding some crotchets in with some passing notes. And then I've added some quavers in, so I've got a mixture of rhythms. So reviewing that melody, is it as good as Somewhere Over the Rainbow? No. Would it ever be as famous as Somewhere Over the Rainbow? I doubt it. Never know. So, what do I want you to do? I want you to make sure that you've got either written on Sibelius or on a piece of paper 4 individual 8-bar melodies that are linked together in the same way as I've linked them. And I've gone through it really slowly and really carefully, and you can rewind the video to watch it again and see if you need to. I would strongly suggest try playing it on an instrument, okay? Be that piano or whatever else that you play, give it a go and see how it flows for that instrument. And as I said earlier, this is the important bit. The first melody that you write will not be brilliant. You might write 100 of them, and they might not be brilliant. But you need to be able to write melodies in great numbers, many, many melodies, to try and find one that does work and one that makes you happy. One that you think, that's interesting, it's got character. And it takes a long time to do that. And also it takes a long time to figure out what sounds good as well. And the only reason you're going to do that, or the way you're going to do that, is by listening to more music. hopefully some of you had an experiment or an opportunity to download Sibelius. That would be really helpful if you've got it, but if you haven't, you can still use paper. Not a problem, okay? So that's the end of that. I hope you've enjoyed watching that video, me breaking down some melodies and how to do it. Again, watch it again if you need to. It's only 20 minutes and it might go in a bit better if you're struggling to understand it. Key terms, things we need to know, sequence, sequential movement, ascending and descending, conjunct and disjunct. All terms that, yeah, we're using when we're writing compositions, but will absolutely come up on your listening exam in Year 11. I guarantee it. They'll be all over it, okay? And other things, tonic, C major, loads of stuff. Right, I wish you a very good weekend. Hoping for snow over the weekend. Looks like it's going to get colder, but I think it might be a bit later. Maybe sometime next week. So look after yourselves. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.